Hi everyone, it's Nicole and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm here today with another Ricky Bruton project. Today I've taken a pre-made background from the color study collection and you can see I've die cut it here out of my silhouette and we're just going to kind of pump it up a little bit. So I actually have a piece of Foundations cardstock and I have marked off those center holes from my floral kind of design. That's from a cut file from Just Nick. And I'm just taking my stencil brush, as you can see, and some yellow art crayon, and I'm just applying that in a round motion around those centers where the flower centers will be. I am going to go in with a bit of a yellow orange now just to deepen up that yellow a little bit. I really loved this background design when I saw it in the paper pad. I loved that pink texture on the yellow, and I just couldn't help but use it for a page like this. It has some touches of blue and teal as well. I thought that would be fun. And then I wanted to add to my background this dot stencil. It's kind of my new favorite. So I used some pink art crayon over top of the yellow. And it actually created this really nice orangey coral color because it had still yellow in that stencil brush. I didn't clean it, so it wasn't super crisp, but I kind of like that warm kind of orangey coral color that kind of I created by mixing that pink and those yellows together. I am going to go in and try to water down some pink art crayon to make some drips. And then I decided I wanted something a little more vibrant, so I did take some of Vicky's, one of her watercolor markers, and add one drop. You can see what a big difference that makes to the art crayon. It's so vibrant. I'm going to really quickly tap that off because I don't want it to be too much pink. But I wanted to bring in some of the pink that was in that background already. And so now I'm just going to fill in my design from that cut file. I'm bringing in some papers here from the paper pad from Color Study. I'm using my punch just to punch a couple of those shapes out. And then I've flipped this over onto the back side, and I am just going to back that really simply into the center of those flowers. So I'm kind of going to just have fun with the different papers that I have, the pieces left over, and add some of those papers to the back of that flower design. So for something like this, when I'm filling a cut file, I really like to use as much of my scraps as I can. It kind of pains me to cut into a full sheet of paper. Luckily, this pink one I've already used before, so I didn't have to cut a huge new sheet, but this is a great way to use up some of your scraps for sure. Just going to erase off some of my edges here, and then I'm going to add this one to the back. Circles is a really great way to, if you're new to die cutting and backing a cut file, obviously circles is a really good starter project because you usually most people have circle punches in their stash that make this kind of quick work. So I decided to back those little smaller flowers, and I will remove those later on. I do change my mind because I felt like the circles in this case were just kind of too small. But we'll talk more about that later. So one last thing, I'm going to fill in this large circle with this polka dot just to bring in a little bit more white to this flower grouping. And there's no real fancy way to do this. I'm just chopping off in and around to make sure I have enough paper. But you can see I'm going to pull off those backed circles. And I'm using some of that grid paper from the paper pad just to have a bit of a neutral. And it's good because it has that blue in there that is already in the die cut background. So I am going to pop these up a little bit just to give them just a tiny little bit of dimension when I put the whole thing down on my project. I am going to punch a couple here out of a teal paper just to bring a little bit more of the darker teal onto my project too. Okay, so I'm going to put my paper scraps to the side and really get some foam tape to the back of this whole design to get it stuck back on my page. Now, because I have those circles from before on the page, this will be easy because that's going to guide kind of where the whole thing is supposed to lay down. So I'll just peel off all my foam tape, which is my best friend, and stick that in place. So you can really see how that mixed media pops up from behind on the background. I really love that polka dot stencil. I will use that one a lot. I'm going to add a few black drops of ink just to kind of calm down all that yellow and pink that is going on. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab my photo and get that kind of placed where I want it on the page, and then just add a few little embellishments. I do find when you have a large die cut shape like this, you really want to kind of like be careful how much extra you add. You can sometimes go a little bit too crazy, have too much stuff going on. So what I wanted to do with this is just add some little bits of color using these color study, my goodness, alphabets. I'm going to pop these up with foam adhesive just to have them stick a little nicer. And so I'm going to do a bit of a mixture here between the chipboard thicker as well as the puffy sticker, the more scripty ones. So I have a nice mix between like a block font and a scripty font. I think that's kind of an important thing on a layout. Sometimes when you have a longer title, you don't want it all to be the same font. Sometimes it looks a little funny. So I love that these are all in different colors. They're just so perfect for summery layouts. All right, so I have Sun-Kissed, and then I'm going to grab my puffy sticker set and look for a word that can go with that. Or maybe I'll start fooling around with embellishments first. I'm sorry, I thought I did my title all at one time, but I do add a little bit of a sticker here to the bottom of my photo. And thought about adding some chipboard, but decided against it. I ended up going in with some die cuts instead and adding in some floral die cuts in here. I don't want to go too crazy with the die cuts because, like I said earlier, there's a lot of those die cut flowers already from the silhouette cut file. So if I add too many, it will just be a little too crazy. So I am going to add this one in to add just some extra little florally sprigs onto it. And so I'm going to tuck this one here in behind the photo just to fill in that little bit of a white space beside the title. Thought about sunglasses because my daughter was wearing sunglasses, but I think that too much in that bottom corner would have looked a little bit funny. Here's where I'll finish my title off though. So I'm going to peel off this one sticker here, and I thought this would really be perfect to kind of fill in that area, but I just wasn't happy with how that K in the weekend was finishing off, so I went with Vibe instead. I think that looks pretty cute and kind of goes with her whole chill look in the photo. So I'm just going to really add it in a couple small embellishments here to finish things off, a few little hearts and some stars. Like I said earlier, I don't want to add a ton of stuff to the project because I already have so much going on the left side with the die cut and the mixed media background. But I think just a few simple stickers here and there will really help kind of bring all of that together. I love the sticker sheet. I could use so many of these on my page, but I had to harness myself in. Anyways, here is how that mixed media background looks over top of the mixed media background that I created to accompany it. I really love how easy it is really to kind of cheat and use the die cut, the backgrounds that are pre-made on a die cutter. So I hope you're inspired to give something like this a try. Crack out your color study collection soon. Bye-bye.